Hey, Jake Mastriani from Locked On Braves, and the Atlanta Braves are back in the postseason after winning their sixth straight division title, and they enter the postseason as the number one seed. And coming into the year, a lot of people thought the Braves would reach the postseason again. They had really good odds to reach the postseason with the lineup that they had, obviously winning 5 division titles before that and having a good young core locked up. But with all of the offseason moves made in the offseason by the Mets, who spend a lot of money, the Philadelphia Phillies, who are the reigning National League champions, coming back and spending big money on Trey Turner, not everybody thought that they would win the NL East. Not only did they do that, they ran away with the division in 2023, and a tough division as it ends up being, as the Mets didn't make the postseason, but the Phillies did, blowing away everybody else in the wild card race. And then the Marlins snuck in as well as the top 2 seed. So you had the number 1 overall seed in the Atlanta Braves come out of the NL East, and you also had the top 2 wild card finishers as well in the Philadelphia Phillies and the Miami Marlins. And the Braves ran away with that division. First one to clinch a division title in the season. So it was a massive year for the Atlanta Braves, who, again, came in with a lot of high expectations, but still were able to exceed those as well by leading all of baseball with the most wins. And it's just, again, it goes to speak to the level of play that this team has been playing for several years now. That starts at the top with Alex Anthopoulos and the moves that he's able to make to create a lot of depth and to lock up all of this young talent that they have. But it takes really special talent to put together a season like the Atlanta Braves had in 2023. And coming out of 2022, there were a lot of questions about Ronald Acuna Jr. And have we, is he never going to get back to that pre-ACL injury form? Was 2022 just who he's going to be from now on, which, by the way, was a pretty good player. I think most Braves fans understood he was going to turn things around and get back to being Ronald Acuna Jr. But on a national level, a lot of people had somewhat written him off. And I think he came into the 2023 season with a bit of a chip on his shoulder to prove he is still one of the best young players in all of baseball. And he did so by having a historic season. 40-70 season, never been done before. 338 batting average. I mean, he almost hit 340, OPS over 1,000, 140 runs scored, 100 runs batted in. It is just one of the most special seasons we've ever seen by a player when you consider the speed and the power threat that he has become. Not only that, but hitting for average, cutting down his strikeout rate by 10%. This was the best season I've ever seen, and it's a big reason why the Braves are where they are, and he helped, lead the best offense in baseball, batting at the top of that order. It's no surprise the Braves led everybody in all of baseball with first inning runs because Ronald Acuna Jr. does so much for you to start a game, to start an inning, getting on base, stealing a base, scoring a run, hitting a ball out of the ballpark. He really does it all on the offensive side, and what should be an MVP season, but he's going to have a little bit of a fight on his hands, not just with, the guys from the Dodgers, Betts and Freeman, but his own teammate, Mat Olson, who any other year may be the runaway MVP winner. You go back a season, and a great season that Paul Goldschmidt had at the first base position. What Mat Olson did this year is even better than that. Led all of baseball in home runs, drove in over 130 runs, almost 1 RBI away from 140 runs driven in this year, an OPS nearing 1,000, hit 280 as well. An amazing season by Mat Olson, who will probably finish top 3, top 4 in the MVP voting. And those two guys really carried this Braves team all year long. Mat Olson started off the year hitting in the 2 spot behind Ronald, but later moved down in the cleanup spot and really took off from there. And again, it's just these two guys leading a charge in this Braves lineup. They each had an OPS over 1,100 in the month of September, not showing you that they just had some, peaks and valleys throughout the year. They've gotten better as the season has gone on, and they are 2 of the hottest hitters for the Braves going into the postseason, along with Marcell Ozuna. And you want to talk about some comeback stories. This guy was terrible for 2 years with the Braves. Looked like a terrible contract. Looked like he may get cut. And he finishes off the season on the last day of the year, hitting 2 home runs, last of which gave him his 40th home run on the year and his 100th RBI of the season. So those 3 guys in particular are going into the postseason really hot right now for the Atlanta Braves. Now, like many teams this year, the Braves had several injuries in the starting rotation. They had to use a franchise record 16 different starting pitchers this year. And while they've gained solid depth in the rotation, it's really all about Max Fried and Spencer Strider at the top. Those are the 2 guys that you trust, and those are the 2 guys that can both be co-aces when they are on. They're 2 of the better pitchers in all of baseball. The season Spencer Strider had, breaking the Braves single-season franchise record for most strikeouts in a season, leading all of baseball with strikeouts by a wide margin. It's just he had a couple of hiccups here and there. He had trouble with the home runs a little bit this season, and he'd have an inning where, like on Saturday against the Nationals, he'll give up 3 runs in an inning. But other than that, he was truly dominant all season long. Max Fried, one of the Braves pitchers, dealing with injuries, and he's dealing with one right now, and that's a big question mark going into the NLDS is how healthy will he be? He's scheduled to pitch a sim game on Tuesday to gear up for that first round of the postseason. But those 2 guys at the top of the rotation, they got to get it done for the Braves in the postseason. Backing them up is a strong bullpen. You have a core, solid core at the end in Raisel Iglesias, AJ Minter, Joe Jimenez, and Pierce Johnson. If your starting pitcher can just get you 5 innings, you feel pretty comfortable turning it over to those 4 guys to finish off the game, especially with the Braves offense, who you give them as many at-bats as you do in a game, and they're eventually going to score some runs and put up a crooked number, but you still feel pretty confident with those guys in high leverage situations. And one reason is because they all have a great strikeout rate, all of them 29% or above strikeout rate. And for the most part, they also do a good job, specifically Iglesias and Jimenez, of not walking any batters. So you feel pretty confident when those guys come into the game in a tight spot. But if the Braves are going to win a World Series in 2023, it will most likely be because they possess the best offense in baseball. One of the best offenses that the game has seen in a long time. And if the Braves do win it all, it's going to be because of that offense. And if they don't win it, it's likely going to be because the starting pitching had too many injuries, fell apart, and just really didn't give the Braves offense a chance to win the ball game. And that's certainly the biggest worry for Braves fans coming into the postseason. But they have pieces there on this team to make another deep run to get it done. And it's World Series or bust for this group in 2023. And I'm Jake Mastriani, host of Locked On Braves. Make sure you subscribe to Locked On Braves on YouTube and subscribe to Locked On Braves in your podcast feed, where I'll be covering the Braves all throughout the postseason.